I've got a really interesting recording setup again because I realised that my bed frame will accept the pop filter's little like G clamp thing, so I'm now recording in my little weird den bedsheet setup that sounds acoustically quite nice based on what I heard last week. But now I have a pop filter, so I don't have to worry about popping the microphone too much. Do I need to bring it closer? Who knows? Maybe I just need to talk a bit louder. But anyway, hello and welcome back to the Lion's Den. I'm your host Matt as always, and yes, we're doing the smooth, silky tones once again because I don't really want to talk too loud because I don't know. Just it's a quiet Saturday. I'm actually recording in advance. Imagine that. Imagine being organised enough to do that. Anyway, let's talk about some fun, wacky things this week because I'm returning to my previous format just for today. I've recently bought some new clothing items. As amazingly interesting as that is, I'm sure I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of discuss because I think with clothing you don't realise how much it's degrading over time because it's gradual. It's not like you buy a piece of clothing and then the next day it's infinitely worse than it was previously and you notice. It takes a while before you kind of notice the degradation in quality. And I think it's very obvious then when you buy something new how much better it is and how often you should probably be refreshing your clothing, but that's a complicated matter that we'll get onto. What spurred this is I really needed some pajamas. The pajamas I've got currently for winter time, so they're long sleeved and they're very thick and warm and comfortable. They weren't fitting me anymore. They were too short, probably because they'd shrunk slightly in the wash. So I needed some new pajamas, and that was an ordeal because all of the pajamas that I were finding were either short-sleeved t-shirts or they were really expensive or boring colours. So I was like, I want something that actually looks nice but is also practical. And I stumbled upon a couple from a local supermarket that were a decent price, a little bit pricey for me because spending money on clothing is not something I like doing, but you know, you have to do it. And I could arrange to click and collect them and combined it with going shopping and everything, so that worked out really nicely and I'm over the moon with them, honestly, over the moon with them because they are so soft. They are incredibly soft. It is wild how soft they are. I literally just involuntarily or just subconsciously, when I first put them on and was wearing them for the first night, I was just kind of like smoothing my arms and rubbing my legs slightly. This sounds really weird. Just because they were so soft and so enjoyable to feel, and it feels really nice against your skin as well because the inside is super soft and it's just comfortable. Like, I didn't want to get out of them. They're that comfortable and they're really warm. Like, I've often found I can get up in the morning when it's coldish in the house because, you know, it's been cold overnight and just wear their pajamas. I don't need a dressing gown because they're weirdly insulating, which is a good thing, I suppose. And I'm very happy with them. Yeah, it sucks that I had to pay a chunk of money just to get 2 sets of pajamas, but they'll last me hopefully quite a while, and I'm hoping that the softness will stay for a while. I also recently, as in today, bought a new sports top as well, or fitness top, because the one I wore to the gym today was really bad. It's shrunken quite a bit to the point where when I'm doing certain exercises, it lifts too high, and I don't want to get into the details, but there are certain areas that are just kind of gross because, you know, I've worn it a lot and done heavy exercise in it. So I'm glad I bought a new sports top. This one was actually fairly cheap. It was only a £5. And yeah, it's a proper size. It fits me well. It looks nice. It's comfortable. Can't complain too much about that one. But I think this does lead on to a broader issue I have with clothes shopping. And that's just because men's clothing sucks so much. Men's clothing sucks unless you're willing to pay like £50 for a shirt, which is insane. If you look in any sort of supermarket shopping for like cheapish clothing, which is what I'm doing because I don't care too much about fashion. I want to look nice, but I don't care about it being brands and being fancy and whatnot. I just want something that's comfortable and that looks nice-ish and is not overly expensive. That's not a thing you can really do in men's clothing. Finding cheap clothing is hard enough, but finding cheap clothing that also looks nice is almost impossible. I'm still struggling currently to replace my 2 pairs of beige trousers because they just don't seem to exist. Nobody seems to sell beige trousers anymore. And I find that wild because a lot of my clothing sort of pattern is reliant on colour matching and light and dark matching. So if I'm wearing dark trousers, I'll try and wear a colourful light t-shirt just because it's a bit of contrast. If I'm wearing beige trousers, I try and pair that with like a dark blue top, because that's just simple colours that work nicely together, and it's almost effortless. Like, it's not hard to do that. But the problem is my beige trousers are starting to develop holes in them, and I need to replace them, but I can't, because I can't find beige trousers anywhere. If you go into any men's section of any clothing store, one, it's tiny compared to the rest of the store, and also it's all just kind of the same. It's the same colours, the same shades of blue and black, and maybe camo green if you're lucky, and then it's all just jeans or maybe chinos. It's very uninspiring and very boring, and not at all helpful for me when I'm just trying to have a little bit of variety. Gosh, God help. Imagine trying to also then buy t-shirts. That's even worse. All of them generally have like gaudy cash grab images on them, and obviously because it's the men's section, it's designed for older people, so a lot of them are referring to things that are not of my generation. So it's like, I don't want a t-shirt with California beach surfing on it. Like, no, I just want plain, simple, nice colours, which sometimes you do stumble upon them. Like, I bought a really nice kind of olive green t-shirt that I've been wearing a lot just because it looks so nice, but that was hard to find, and it's just frustrating because if I want to try and replace my wardrobe with new things, it's not easy. So it's an ongoing thing, and I will just have to kind of jump at it more often, like with the pajamas, because they turned out to be a very good decision. So moving on from my complaints about male fashion, obviously I had 2 weeks off from the gym because I died of the unspeakable. And I've been surprised, honestly. I've been enjoying it. I've been wanting to go because it gets me out of the house, which is nice. I've been surprised by my own strength as well. I thought I'd have a problem where I'd have to kind of reintroduce myself back into it because it's been 2 weeks and sort of start with lower weights than what I'd been previously doing. But that's been quite the opposite. I've surprised myself at every corner where I've almost matched what I've been doing in a lot of exercises, and in some exercises I've been pushing more than I was 2 weeks ago, which is wild to me that I took 2 weeks off and yet somehow I'm stronger after also having had an illness. It's weird, but it's good, right? It's a nice small benefit for some reason. I think possibly because maybe there was a lot of repair done whilst I had those 2 weeks off, so helpful. I think it's also helped with my mental state as well, because, being stuck inside and not being able to go out because of illness, it's not good. It's not good for your mental state unless you're able to kind of make the inside a nice place. And I miss the boost you get from doing exercise. Exercise just boosts your mental state because, your body likes being moved, your body likes doing work in that essence. As much as you don't like doing it in the moment, your body thanks you for it, and your brain thanks you for it later, as I am now experiencing, and I'm glad for it. I'm glad it's an option that I have. And another thing as well is that I'm considering looking into supplements. He says, the one supplement specifically that I'm looking at is creatine, which some of you may be familiar with or not. Essentially, creatine is a thing we already make in our bodies. I think a lot of legal supplements that aren't steroids basically are things we create in our body in a normal amount, and you can add more of that artificially to boost your performance. Essentially, that's how it works. So the creatine is something we make in our body. I think from what I remember, it's what helps convert your food, your literal food, into energy for your muscles to do work. So the more of it you have to an extent, the more efficiently, I think, and the more you can convert of your food into usable energy for your body. So it supposedly helps give you a initial boost in strength, and then also helps you perform better whilst you're doing it. And it's completely legal. It's a base supplement that you can buy at any sort of fitness store. So the only thing is that they do suggest you discuss it with a doctor first, because for some people it might have adverse reactions if you're having too much of it, and for some people it might not even be worth it. It might not have any tangible benefit, so it'd be a waste to spend money and then consume it to get nothing out of it. So that's what I need to do, is figure out how to book an appointment with a doctor, because weirdly enough, when I was looking at it, it's so easy to book an appointment for something bad. Like if you're ill, or if you have something wrong with you, or if you need an appointment for something, that's easy to book. You can either call, or you can do it online, or you can call a doctor's or whatnot. But booking an appointment for a consultation of something like this, where I want to know if doing this thing will be good for me. That's not very obvious how to do. So my plan is currently I need to find a time where I can sit down and sit on the phone and call my GP basically and say, hi, I have a weird thing I want to do. It's not weird, but I don't know how to do it, and see if they can book me an appointment basically to just talk with a doctor about taking a supplement for the gym. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of what's been on my mind recently. I'm very bad at organising this. I'm very bad at preparing to sit down and record, because I don't know, it's hard to think of things when you're busy. You know, when you're being an adult, it's hard to then also micromanage other things. But it's what makes your spare time worth it, I think. I don't know where I'm going with this train of thought. I'm just going to end it there. I hope you've all enjoyed listening. Do the thing, like, comment, subscribe, share. Throw this podcast around the internet as much as humanly possible, please. That would be fantastic. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.